what if we decide to put it off? Because you guys are all in this class, you at home, you're taking this class right now. You felt some desire to feel better, presumably. Something's not working and you want to learn something to make things better. Great, that's the evolutionary impulse. That's the universal aspiration. It's working in you. But remember how we talked about sort of the inertia to get going, that there's always that, I don't want to. And that's going to show up no matter what. A complex system is stable and highly resistant to change. Welcome to being a human being. All right, and so notice that when you first got the email about this class, how excited you were, right? Didn't you? And you felt inspired to start doing this class. And then the class actually started. And then every Saturday, you're like, oh, do I got to go do that right now? It's so beautiful outside, right? Come on, I know. Me too. Okay, and so there's the resistance. And then it's in between classes. And right after maybe one of these teachings, you're like, you feel so inspired. I'm going to meditate this time. I am. And then it's the very next day, and you wake up, and the thought, because you've conditioned yourself now, the thought of, hey, it's my time to meditate right now. And you're like, oh, do I really want to do that now? Or do I want to read the paper? You know, that's much more what maybe I'll go do the dishes, right? And your body starts wandering around and doing like a whole bunch of other things, and then the time keeps ticking, and the next thing you know, like all the time's gone, like, wow, shoot, I can't meditate today. And so what you're doing is you're shifting the burden of your change into the future. Well, that's what we do. Well, I'm here to pop the bubble because that is not without side effects. Here are the side effects. Okay, so there's this repeating pattern, and it can be anything. It can be the repeating pattern of I don't want to meditate. Okay, it can be that. And so there's always going to be a quick and an easy solution. Let's go back to the pattern of Mark's an insomniac. So that's the repeating pattern. Quick and easy solution is take a pill. And the pill, amazingly strong muscular feedback, knocks me right out. And what happens when you get really strong positive feedback like that? You're like, wow, that works. I like that. And there's a mind-body network that's like, yes, sirree, I love that. That's good stuff. And the brain is wiring itself up. Want more of that good stuff? That's good. That's awesome stuff. Power. And then it occurs to us, we take a meditation class, and there a long-term solution is taught, like how to actually train the mind so you don't freak out when you're not sleeping. That's a fundamental solution. But guess what? The fundamental solution takes time and effort. And when you're meditating, like if any of you are an insomniac and you meditate, and the feedback you get is not as strong. You can calm yourself down before bed. You can meditate in bed, but it's not as powerful as popping an Ambien. And so then, inside this mind-body network, because there's an observing subject where the story was like, that's good. It's all right. It's okay. Fair enough. But then the next time you really feel in the sensation, it's like, really works. Whoa. Doesn't work so much. You're like, which one are you going to choose? Right? You condition yourself to go for the powerful solution. Okay, so that's what we're setting up consistently with how we treat ourselves when we have ailments, patterns in relationships, working on our own stuff inside. We are disabling our capacity to change because the change that we seek is a little harder than we want it to be, And there's so many easy solutions out there. There's so many easy options, they're masquerading as solutions. That's what's actually happening. All right, so here's the side effects that happen when you keep doing the same thing. You habituate. And so whether it is, let's say I'm working with somebody that has anxiety, and people have anxiety from stress, but it hasn't become a clinical condition. They're not taking medicine for it. They're working with their sensations. But as soon as they take the first pill, you get some powerful feedback from that. And because the feelings that you don't like, that might be telling you something about you got to make some change. Pain's always like that, whether it's physical pain or psychological pain. There's a message in the pain that we need to tune in, make some changes. But when you take that pill and the pain goes away, then all of a sudden, whoo, that was thank goodness. And then the anxiety comes again, and you take it again, and then the next thing you know, it's 3 years later. Now your mind-body network is totally used to the medicine, whatever you're taking, and you've habituated to it, and the prescription has gone up, your dosage has gone way up. And now, without that medicine, you don't feel good at all. Like it used to be that the anxiety kind of sort of came and went. Now it is 24/7. You are like a frog in a blender when you don't have the pill on board, and that's called dependency. Some people call that addiction, but you need it now. And what's happened is you've totally disabled your capacity to work with stuff. It turns 2 o'clock, you're not feeling anything except this is my time, I better take it now. And it gets really strong. And then lastly, nobody is getting any younger. And so the longer we engage in this relationship with that powerful quick fix, the more we disable ourselves over time, psychologically, but also physically. Let's say you're using something like that. I'll give you a perfect example. And so this is a really poignant example because the man that I treated before was a physician, and he had anxiety, and he got on the merry-go-round, okay, and he had anxiety 40 years ago, and here he is 65, 70, and he's gone 40 years of using the medicine, nothing is working now, and his life is hell. And now, he's 65, 70, right? And so the capacity, if you took 65-year-old man versus 25-year-old man, who's got more capacity to change and heal? The younger person, because this mind-body network, it doesn't get more resilient and agile with age. We have declining capacity, unfortunately, but that's the way it works. And so here comes the $24,000 question, okay? So when is the time to begin to change? Like right now, because you will never be any younger. This, right, it's so strange to think, but in this moment, you are the youngest that you will ever be, ever. And it's only kind of downhill from here. Oh, that's a depressing thought. Okay, so All right, but you understand what I'm saying. All right, so the time to change is now. So after, in this class, there's some carrots, there's some sticks. This is the stick, people. When you get home, after this class and you're done, do your meditation. Like, practice a little bit, because that's what's really going to make the change. And I will also say, if you are taking some medicine, I am not saying drop all the medicine. Did you hear me say that? I'm not saying that. Medicine, great, but use it like you would use a crutch. If you broke your leg, you need it, But you're also doing the rehab and the exercise so you can build yourself up so you don't need the crutch. Do you follow? And so while you're taking the medicine, start meditating. And then get with your doctor, your psychiatrist, and start titrating yourself off. Over time, as your meditation practice increases and you really do get a good sense of how to handle triggers, thoughts, and sensations, you won't actually need the medicine as much. And then you'll condition yourself in your mind to have a little confidence, and then the relationship with the substance or the activity or whatever you used to do to medicate starts to break, okay? But it happens over time. It's a process. Okay, so there is a future, right? And in the future, there's potential. There's the potential to get well, more health in the future, but there's also potential for more illness, right? And whatever one of those potentials manifests depends on what we do right now. Okay, so this slide, I have what looks like a container there. Let that symbolize your mind-body network. All the processes, quintillions of actions happening in every single moment. And then the story that emerges out of contact with objects creates feedback. So some of the feedback is called balancing feedback, where a lot of us want to change, but we're not fully committed to the change process. And so what it sounds like to be inside of us is like, some of the time you're inspired, I'm going to do this, but some of the time it's like, I can't do this, right? And 50% there, 50% that, not there. What happens is that negates. It's like a plus plus a minus. The pattern stays the same. So it just keeps going. And then what might arise in the person that wants to get rid of this pattern is more frustration because you keep living with this pattern. More balancing feedback. I can do this. I can't do this. It balances out. A pattern emerges, but it's the same pattern. Now, the other type of feedback that happens is called amplifying feedback. And amplifying feedback is what's going to take you to a different state. Now, the state doesn't mean always healthy. It could be state of health or state of illness, but it's going to break you off and take you to a different place. So I can do this. Yes, I can. You stay committed to your practice, and it is very, very consistent. You can count on the pattern changing over time. But the same thing happens, and I see this a lot with the people I work with that are, say, engaged in recovery of one thing or another. What happens in them is something happens, it's not going so well in their life, and it's a freight train going in the wrong direction. I'm getting sick, things are getting worse, and then the pattern of reasonable wellness or recovery turns into relapse. All right, so the pattern changes. So whatever pattern manifests depends on how you manage the nitty-gritty of what's happening inside in the moment. That's why mindfulness is so key. Mindfulness is monitoring and modifying that flow. And when I say the flow, mostly think of the voice in your head and how that sense of yourself is reacting to whatever's happening to you. Our job is not to heal ourselves. Our job is not to make things worse. Okay, and we'll let the healing is going to happen by itself if it happens, but that's above our pay grade. All right. So what we want to do is we want to create what's called a bifurcation point on the positive side. We want to split off from who we were and create a new pattern. This is actually how it's going to happen. That's the science of it. Bifurcation points are when you split off from the old and something new emerges. Okay, we're going to try to do that.